Happy morning, students. Welcome to Bhutra Sai Secondary School online classes. So, in this class, we will discuss about Unit 11 carbon and its compounds. This is the concept map for the carbon and its compounds. So, classification, naming, functional group, daily use. These are the main topics for the carbon and its compounds. Classification. There are two types, that is open chain compounds and closed chain compounds. So these two types further divide into two types, that is open chain compounds is further divided into saturated and unsaturated. Closed chain compounds further divided into carbocyclic compounds and heterocyclic compounds. The next one is functional group. How to name the functional groups? Ether, ester, carboxylic acid, ketones, aldehyde, alcohols. So these are the functional group of the carbon and its compounds. Next one is naming. How to we are naming the compounds? There are common name and IUPAC name. The IUPAC name is depends on the root word, prefix and suffix. So the three combine to form a IUPAC name. Next one is common name. So based on the source. Next one is what are the daily uses of carbon and its compounds? Alcohol, organic acid, drugs, fuel, tires, plastics. So these are the daily use in the carbon. One by one we will discuss in the classes. Okay. Already we know that carbon is essential for our life. There are 5 million compounds of the carbon. So the unique nature of the carbon is catenation, tetravalency, multiple bonding, enables it to combine with itself or other elements like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. So the carbon can form a large number of compounds. These compounds is made up of covalent bonds. So these covalent carbon compounds is called as organic compounds. So what are the general characteristics of the organic compounds? So this organic compounds is unique nature in their characteristics. First one, organic compounds high molecular weight and a complex structure. So this molecular structure is very complicated and the molecular weight is high. Next, insoluble in water but soluble in organic solvents. So the organic compounds are insoluble in water but soluble in organic solvents. Organic solvents like carbon tetrachloride, ether, etc. So these are the organic solvent. Polar, non-polar solvent, the same for the organic solvent and solvents. Okay. So next property is or characteristic is they are highly inflammable in nature. So carbon is low flammable in nature. Next one is organic compounds are less reactive compared to inorganic compounds. So the organic compounds involved in the reaction, it is very slower than the inorganic compounds. Next characteristic is form the covalent bonds in nature. Already I am told that the organic compounds form a covalent bond. Okay, so the organic compounds form a covalent bonds. The next characteristic, organic compounds have lower melting point and boiling point then compared to inorganic compounds. So these are the compared to organic and inorganic compounds. Okay, so the melting point and boiling point is very low. Same for the what is this? organic compounds less reactive to the other compounds compared to the inorganic compounds. The next one is they exhibit the phenomena of isomerism in which a single molecular formula represents several organic compounds that differ in their physical and chemical properties. So some of the organic compounds have a single molecular formula, but they are differ in their physical and chemical properties. So the next one is they are volatile in nature. So it is easily volatile. Okay. Organic compounds can be prepared in the laboratory. Only the organic compounds are prepared in the labs. So these 9 are the characteristics of the organic compounds. First one is high molecular weight and a complex structure and insoluble in water but soluble in organic solvents, highly inflammable in nature, less reactive compared to inorganic compounds, form covalent bonds, lower melting point and boiling point compared to inorganic compounds, and same so single molecular formula but differ in their physical and chemical properties, volatile in nature, and the organic compounds are prepared in the laboratory. So these are the characteristics of the organic compounds. So the next one is a classification of organic compounds based on the pattern of carbon chain. Okay. Already we know that there are millions of carbon compounds in the earth. So every year new carbon compounds are discovered in the laboratory. So in early days, the chemists recognized that compounds having a similar structure features have identical chemical properties. So they began to classify compounds based on the common structural arrangements found among them. So organic chemistry is a chemistry of catenated carbon compounds. So the carbon atom present in the organic compounds are linked with each other through covalent bonds and thus exist as chains. So by this way, organic compounds are classified into two types as follows: acyclic or open chain compounds and cyclic or closed chain compounds. Okay. So the organic compounds are form a covalent bonds. So they have a chains. So based on this type of chains, these are divided into two types. That is acyclic or open chain compounds and cyclic or closed chain compounds. So these two types is further divided into many types. Okay, one by one we will see. So first one is acyclic or open chain compounds. What is mean by acyclic compounds? So these are that is acyclic compounds in which the carbon atoms are linked in a linear pattern to form the chain. This is called as acyclic compounds. Okay, so carbon atoms form a chains. So this chain in a linear form, that is single line, straight line. Okay, so these types of carbon compounds is called as acyclic compounds. So this divided into two types, that is saturated and unsaturated. So first one is saturated. If all the carbon atoms in the chain are connected by a single bond, the compound is called as saturated. For example, propane. So already we know that a cyclic compound is form a linear pattern. So a saturated compounds is also a linear pattern, and this compounds is connected by a single bonds. So these are called as saturated. Unsaturated means that same. The unsaturated is a linear pattern, but one or more double or triple bonds are between the carbon atoms. So these are called as unsaturated compounds. So, a cyclic or open chain compounds called as means that linear pattern to form a chain. This is divided into two types, that is saturated and unsaturated. Saturated is also a linear pattern to form a chain, but only form a single bonds. Okay, so example is propane. The next one is unsaturated. This is also a linear pattern to form a chain, but these are the one or more, that is double, triple bonds are form a chain. Example propane, that is unsaturated compound. So propane is a saturated compound and propane is a unsaturated compound. Next one is cyclic compounds. So organic compounds in which the chain of carbon atoms is closed or cyclic are called cyclic compounds. Okay, so for example, the carbon compounds form a triangle, penta, rectangle, any shapes or closed shapes. So this form of chain is called as closed or cyclic compounds. Okay, so these are two types, that is alicyclic compounds and aromatic compounds. The alicyclic compounds and aromatic compounds is a carbocyclic compounds. Okay, so cyclic compounds is further divided into carbocyclic and heterocyclic. The carbocyclic is divided into alicyclic compounds and aromatic compounds. ஓகே, என்னது நிறைய டிவிஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு. ஓகேவா, ஆர்கானிக் கம்பவுண்ட்ஸே டூவா டிவைட் பண்ணுவோம். அதுதான் சைக்ளிக் அண்ட் சைக்ளிக் சொல்லிட்டு. ஓகேவா, சைக்ளிக்ல வந்து டூ டைப்ஸ், சேச்சுரேட்டட் அண்ட் அன்சேச்சுரேட்டட். சைக்ளிக்ல என்னது கார்போசைக்ளிக், ஹெட்ரோசைக்ளிக். there are two types. Okay, so carbocyclic is also further divided into two types, that is alicyclic and aromatic. So what is meant by carbocyclic? If the chain contains only carbon atoms, such compounds are called carbocyclic compounds. So a carbocyclic compound contains only carbon atoms, not like that nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, etc. It do not contain, only it contains carbon atoms. Okay, next one is a cyclic compounds divided into two types, that is carbocyclic. Carbocyclic only contains carbon atoms, but heterocyclic means that it contains carbon and other atoms like oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. So these are the called as heterocyclic compounds. Example furan. So this is the example for the heterocyclic compounds. Okay, so why this is called as heterocyclic compounds? Because it contains oxygen atom and carbon atom. So it is called as heterocyclic compounds. But the carbocyclic compounds do not contain the other atoms like nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, etc. Only contain carbon atoms. So carbocyclic compounds is further divided into alicyclic compounds and aromatic compounds. What is meant by alicyclic compounds? One or more carbocyclic chains which may be saturated or unsaturated. Aromatic compounds contain one or more benzene rings. Okay. Alicyclic compounds example is cyclobutane and aromatic compounds example is benzene. So alicyclic compounds contains a one or more carbocyclic rings, that is example for cyclobutane. So this is the example for the alicyclic compounds. Okay. So it is saturated or unsaturated. Already told that what is meant by saturated and unsaturated. So aromatic compounds. So aromatic compounds contain a benzene rings. Okay. So these rings contain a alternative double bonds. For example, benzene. Benzene. So first one have a double bond, but another next one is not have a bond. But the next another one is have a bond, but another one is not a bond. But the another one is double bond. So these are the aromatic compounds. Okay. So these are the classification of organic compounds based on the pattern of carbon chain. Okay. So there are two types, that is a cyclic and cyclic compounds. Cyclic compounds divide into saturated and unsaturated compounds, and cyclic or closed chain compounds is divided into carbocyclic and heterocyclic. Carbocyclic is further divided into alicyclic and aromatic. Okay. But other than the organic compounds contain atoms like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. bonded to the carbon atoms. So this carbon gives different classes of organic compounds. So this type of organic compounds classified into based on the kinds of atoms. Okay. So that is hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons is further divided into alkanes, alkenes, alkynes. Okay. Naming is very very important. Okay. How to this name is named after we will discuss, that is IUPAC name, common name. So what is meant by hydrocarbons? The organic compounds that are composed of only carbon and hydrogen atoms are called hydrocarbons. Okay. So hydrocarbons that are further divided into alkanes, alkenes, alkynes. Okay. So the organic compounds only with a carbon and hydrogen. That organic compounds are called as hydrocarbons. Only with a are composed of carbon and hydrogen atoms. These are the hydrocarbons. So one by one we will discuss. These are the types. First one is alkanes. So these are hydrocarbons, okay, which contain only single bonds. They are represented by the general formula CnH2n plus 2. Okay, alkanes means that the carbon and hydrogen bonds are single bonds. So they are called as alkanes. So the general formula for alkanes is CnH2n plus 2. 2n plus 2. These are the general formula for the alkanes. So for n equal to 1, we are putting to the n equal to 1. So what is this? The formula is CH4. CH4. Okay. CH4 means that methane. So we are put into the n equal to 2. That is C2H6. So this name is ethane. So we are put into the n equal to 3. So C3H8. The name is propane. Okay. So the alkanes are saturated compounds because these are all single bonds in alkanes. So only with the carbon and hydrogen atoms, these are the hydrocarbons. These hydrocarbons have a single bond. These are called as alkanes. The general formula is what is it? CnH2n plus 2. So what are the examples of alkanes? Alkanes carbon atoms. Methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane. These are the examples of the alkane. The next one is alkenes. So these are the one or more bonds are between the carbon and hydrogen atoms. This is called as alkenes. But these are the unsaturated compounds. The general formula is CnH2n. These are the general form of alkenes. So we are putting into the n equal to 1. Sorry, because this have a, what is this? One or more bonds. So we are put into the 2. N equal to 2. So C2H4. C2H4. So this is ethene because C N replaced by 2. 2 into N equal to 2. So 4. So C2H4. Then compound's name is ethene. Okay. So we are put into the N equal to 3. So C3H6. The compound name is propene. Next one is we are put into the 4. So C4H8. Butene. Put into the 5. So C5H10. The name is pentene. Okay. These are the alkenes. Next one is alkynes. So the alkynes is a hydrocarbon. So it have a triple bond. So triple bond have a hydrocarbons are called as alkenes. Definition is the hydrocarbons contain carbon to carbon triple bonds are called alkenes. So this is a general formula is CnH2n minus 2. Okay. So we are put into the 2. N equal to 2. So C2H2. So name is ethene. Put into the N equal to 3. Propene. Butane. Pentane. Ethane. Propane. Butane. Pentane. Okay. So first N equal to 2. That is formula is C2H2. Okay. So ethane. Propane. Butane. Pentane. Okay. So this is the alkynes family. So the alkynes family contains 2 carbon atoms. So some of the alkynes are contains 2 carbon atoms. So these are the hydrocarbons and their types. Okay. So these are the alkyne, alkene, alkyne. Okay. So இதெல்லாம் எப்படி வந்தது நமக்கு இங்க மீத்தேன் அல்கேனுடைய ஜெனரல் ஃபார்முலா CnH2n+2. ஸோ அது அல்கேன்ன்றது சிங்கிள் பாண்ட். அப்ப நம்ம என்ன பண்ணலாம் 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 நம்பர் சொல்லிட்டு நம்ம எனக்கு வேல்யூ கொடுத்தா நமக்கு இந்த இதுல தான் நமக்கு ஃபார்முலா கிடைக்கும். ஓகேவா? ஸோ அந்த ஃபார்முலா பொறுத்து நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம்னா அதுக்கு நேம் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அதான் மீத்தேன், ஈத்தேன், ப்ரோபேன், பியூட்டேன், பென்டேன். ஓகேவா? ஸோ alkene molecular formula என்னது CnH2n. So we are put into the 2 because this have a 2 bonded. Okay. So first one is 2. So C2H4. Ethene, propene, butene, pentene. Okay. நீங்க வேல்யூஸ்லாம் என்ன பண்ணுங்க சப்ஸ்டியூட் பண்ணி போட்டு பாருங்க. ஓகேவா? பிளஸ் பண்ணி மல்டிப்ளை பண்ணி எல்லாமே போட்டு பாருங்க. உங்களுக்கு இந்த ஃபார்முலாஸ் எல்லாமே கிடைக்கும். ஓகேவா? n இருக்கிற வேல்யூ n இருக்கிற பிளேஸ்ல 1 2 3 4 5 அது வரைக்கும் நீங்க போட்டு பாத்தீங்கன்னா 5 வரைக்கும் இருக்கிறதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு இது கிடைக்கும். ஓகேவா? அல்கைனோட ஃபார்முலா மல்டிபிள் ஃபார்முலா என்ன CnH2n minus 2. So first we are put into the 2. So C2H2, ethane, propane, butane, pentane. Okay. So these are the hydrocarbons containing the 1 to 5 carbon atoms. So next one is what are the characteristics of the hydrocarbons. So the next one is what are the characteristics of the hydrocarbon? So lower hydrocarbons are gases at room temperature. Example methane, ethane. So these are the gases. At a room temperature, the hydrocarbons are gases. Okay. So the next one is colorless and odorless. So the hydrocarbons have a colorless. It have a no color and odorless, no smell. Okay. The next one is boiling point of hydrocarbons increase with an increase in the number of carbon atoms. So depending on the carbon atoms, the boiling point is increase in the hydrocarbons. Okay. So the next one is they undergo combustion reaction with oxygen to form CO2 and water. Already we know that what is meant by combustion reactions. So in which the reactant rapidly combines with oxygen to form one or more acid and energy. Okay, so this is the combustion reactions. So the hydrocarbons coming to a combustion reaction or goes to a combustion reaction to form a carbon dioxide and water. Okay, the next one is alkanes are least reactive when compared to other classes of hydrocarbons. Already we know that organic compounds are less reactive. Same for the hydrocarbons are least reactive when compared to the other classes of hydrocarbons. That is alkanes. Okay. Organic compounds compared to the inorganic compounds less reactive. Same for the alkanes. Okay. Alkanes are the least reactive compared to the alkanes, alkynes. Okay. So alkynes are most reactive due to the presence of the triple bond. So ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா வந்துடும் நமக்கு ஓகேவா அல்கேன்ஸ் லீஸ்ட் ரியாக்டிவா இருக்குள்ள அல்கைன்ஸ் வந்து என்னது மோர் ரியாக்டிவா இருக்கும் பிகாஸ் தி பிரசன்ஸ் ஆஃப் தி ட்ரிபிள் பாண்ட் ஓகே நெக்ஸ்ட் alkanes are saturated whereas alkenes and alkanes are unsaturated. Already we know that okay alkanes are the saturated compounds and alkenes and alkynes. So these are the types of the hydrocarbons. So these are the included in the characteristics of the hydrocarbons. So they are insoluble in water. Okay. So the hydrocarbons are insoluble in water. Okay, these are the characteristics of the hydrocarbons. So 8 points. So we are expected in the 4 marks, 3 marks, 2 marks, any. Okay. What are the characteristics of the hydrocarbons? You write the questions. All of you write in your observation note and question form in your class of note. Okay. So how to identify the saturated and unsaturated compounds? Okay. So first we are taken into the given solutions. So given நமக்கு என்ன சொல்யூஷன் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க அதை நம்ம வந்து என்னது சேச்சுரேட்டட் அன்சேச்சுரேட்டட் கம்பவுண்ட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ண போறோம் முக்கியம் அது எந்த மெத்தட்ல வந்து நம்ம ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ண போறோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு தான் பார்க்க போறோம் முக்கியம் so we are taken into the given solution we are taken alkane and alkane. Okay, so add a few drops of bromine water to a given solution. Observe the any changes in these solutions. Okay, if we have given a unsaturated solution, it will decolorize bromine water. If given the unsaturated compounds, it is react to the bromine water to change the color, that is decolorize white. Okay, but do not decolorize the bromine water, it is a saturated compounds. Okay, bromine water கூட அந்த சொல்யூஷன் ரியாக்ட் ஆகி அதோடைய கலர் வந்து சேஞ்ச் ஆச்சுன்னா அது unsaturated solution. Okay, so alkene is a unsaturated solution, so it is react to a bromine water and change the color, that is decolorize. Okay, alkane Alkane is a saturated solution. So it is react to the bromine water but does not change the color. Okay, so this is the saturated solutions. How to we are find out the saturated and unsaturated solution react to the bromine water. Okay, so these are the hydrocarbon and classification of the carbon. So the next classification of organic compounds is based on the functional groups. Okay. So the structural frameworks of organic compounds are made of a carbon and hydrogen, which are relatively less reactive. But the presence of some other atoms or group of atoms makes the compounds more reactive and thus determine the chemical properties of the compound. These groups are called functional groups. Okay. How to they form the organic compounds? So that is a less reactive compounds of the carbon and hydrogen. These are based on the structural frameworks. So these less reactive atoms combine to the other compounds, presence of the some other atoms or groups, it is more reactive. So thus it determines the chemical properties of the compounds, that is called functional group. Okay, a functional group is an atom or group of atoms in a molecule which gives characteristics chemical property. For example, we are take into the ethane. Okay, so the ethane molecular formula is a CH3. Okay, so these are the hydrocarbon. So these are the hydrocarbon. So one atom remove, we are include the functional group, that is OH. So remaining part of the CH3, CH2 react to the OH. We get a alcohol, that is ethanol. Okay. So this is the functional group. So CH3, CH2, OH. This is the alcohol molecular formula. So the hydrocarbon, that is ethane, react to the functional group OH. It is form another group of or compounds, that is alcohol, that is ethanol. So it has a chemical properties. Okay, so OH, CHO, COOH, these are the functional groups. Okay, so how to we are naming the alcohol? So OH, that is functional group. We are same OH. Okay, so remaining for the CH3, CH2, we are put into the name R. So where the alcohol is represented by a ROH. Okay, leaving the functional group, that is OH, remaining part of the structure is represented by R. So the alcohol is represented by a ROH. Okay. A series of compounds containing the same functional group is called class of organic compounds. So some of the class of compounds are given in the tabular column. Okay. So functional group, we are know that OH, CHO, next COOH, COOR and OR. These are the functional group. Okay. So leaving the functional group, remaining part we are put into the R. Okay. Alcohols. That is the functional group is OH. For example, ethanol. So CH3, CH2, OH. So CH3, CH2 part is R and functional group is OH. So ROH. Common formula for alcohol is ROH. Aldehyde. The functional group is CHO. The example is CH3, CHO. So CH3 is put into a R. Next functional group is same CHO. So the common formula for the aldehyde is RCHO. Same for the ketones, that is CO. Okay. So the Example is CH3, CO, CH3. Okay. So CO is a functional group. Leaving the functional group, remaining part we have put into the name R. So R, CO, R. So this is the ketones. Okay. Next carboxylic acid, that is COOH. Example acetic acid, that is CH3, COOH. CH3 is R and COOH a functional group. So the carboxylic acid common formula is RCOOH. Next ester. So functional group is COOR. Example methyl acetate. CH3 COOCH3. Okay. So CH3 is a put into a R and COO R. Okay. So next one is ether. Functional group OR. That is we are put into the O is a functional group. Okay. So example dimethyl ether. So CH3 O CH3. So CH3 and CH3 put into the R and O is a functional group. Same for the ester. COO is a functional group. Okay. So CH3 is a R. So R, COO, R. So these are the classes of organic compounds based on the functional group. Okay. Next one is homologous series. So homologous series is a group or a class of organic compounds. Last we have discussed about the what is this class of organic compounds. What is in the class of organic compounds? A series of compounds containing the same functional group is called as a class of organic compounds. So homologous series is a group or a class of organic compounds having same general formula and similar chemical properties in which the successive members differ by a CH2 group. That is homologous series. For example, methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane. Methane form a CH4. Ethane form a CH3, CH3. Okay. So one CH2 is extra. So it is differ from the methane and ethane CH2. So it is a homologous series. The next propane CH3, CH2, CH3. Small CH2 is differ in the ethane and propane. The next one is butane CH3, CH2, CH3. So two CH2 there. Okay. So it is differ from the propane and butane. Next one is pentane CH3, CH2 whole 3 and CH3. So one CH2 is differs. So it have a same class of organic compounds. Okay. What is the alkane? So this is the same group of organic compounds, that is alkane, but same general formula, same chemical properties, but small difference in CH2. So this is called as homologous series. Methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, this have a alkane organic compounds. Already we discuss about hydrocarbons. Okay, hydrocarbons நம்ம discuss பண்ணோமா alkane, alkene, alkyne. So alkane எல்லாத்துமே என்னது ஃபார்முலா வந்து எல்லாமே சேர்ந்து ஜெனரல் ஃபார்முலா என்னது alkane பேர் CnH2n plus 2. ஓகேவா? ஸோ இது எல்லாமே என்னது ஒரு CH2 குரூப்பால டிஃபர் ஆகுது. ஆனால் ஜெனரல் ஃபார்முலா கெமிக்கல் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் எல்லாமே சேம். ஆனால் என்ன CH2 குரூப்பால சேஞ்ச் ஆகிறதுனால இது ஹோமோலோகஸ் சீரியஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். ஓகேவா? ஸோ வாட் ஆர் தி கேரக்டரிஸ்டிக்ஸ் ஆஃப் தி ஹோமோலோகஸ் சீரியஸ்? ஓகே, the first one is each member of the series differs from the preceding or succeeding member by one methylene group that is CH2 and hence by a molecular mass of 14 AMU, atomic mass unit. So now we are discussed, okay. So small CH2 group is differs, that is homologous series, is one of the characteristics of the homologous series. So all members of a homologous series contain the same element and functional group. Same, okay. So homologous series contains the same elements and same functional group. Okay. Next one is homologous series represented by a general molecular formula. For example, alkanes, that is CnH2n plus 2. So the homologous series have a same general molecular formula. The next one is the members in each homologous series show a regular gradation in their physical properties with respect to their increase in molecular mass. Okay, so it is a different in small CH2. So the methane, ethane, propane, butane, benzene, it is the increasing order. Okay, so it has a molecular mass is increased. So it is a gradation. Gradation means that similar. Similar na same. இப்போ CH one CH2 next அதே 1 CH2 ஆல் தான் increase ஆகுது. next 1 CH2 அந்த மாதிரி அந்த கிராடியேஷனே போறதுனால தான் இது என்னது molecular mass என்னது increase ஆகுது. physical properties என்ன ஆகுது கிராடியேஷன்ல இருக்கு. regular gradation அதுவும் regular gradation, not a irregular gradation. Okay, so this is one of the characteristics of the homologous series. Okay, next one is the chemical properties of the members of a homologous series is are similar. Next one is all the members can be prepared by a common method. இந்த எல்லாமே என்னது ஒரே பாயிண்ட் மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும். ஓகேவா, ஸ்மால் டிஃபரன்ஸ் தான் வேர்ட்ஸ் அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்மால் டிஃபரன்ஸ் தான் இந்த கேரக்டரிஸ்டிக்கே இருக்கு. சுத்தி பார்த்தா நமக்கு என்னது ஒரே மீனிங்ல தான் தருது. ஓகேவா, so these six are the characteristics of the homologous series. So in this class we have discussed about carbon and its compounds unit 11. So what is mean by carbon and its compounds we have discussed, and what are the general characteristics of the compounds, how the organic compounds are classified into based on the pattern of carbon chain and based on the kind of atoms and based on the functional groups we are discussed in these classes. Okay, any doubt, ask me and clarify the doubt. I believe that all of you follow the class and write in your observation notes. Thank you, students.